Have you ever struggled with losing weight but not being able to actually keep it off long term? Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you the number one thing that you may be doing that is actually leading to your own subconscious self-sabotage. And be sure to stay tuned for my video next week where I'm going to go over the 5 things that you can start doing today that will lead to amazing results that actually last. Hey guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kelsey Wiebe. I am a certified personal trainer and yoga instructor, and after 18 years of suffering with yo-yo dieting and disordered eating, I have finally found recovery. And on this channel, I typically talk about the nutrition, fitness, and mindset shifts you need so that you can find your own food freedom and rediscover the best version of you. So what's the number one thing you're probably doing that's sabotaging your weight loss efforts? Weighing yourself. Now I know you may be thinking, but if I don't weigh myself, how am I supposed to know if I'm actually making any progress? And don't get me wrong, I really like to focus on data and making sure that I'm being objective. And I do believe that anything measured gets managed. However, it is really important for us to manage and to measure the right things. And unfortunately for a lot of us, our body weight is just not one of them. And here's why. First of all, let's talk about what body weight actually is. Our body weight is literally just how our body relates to the gravitational forces of Earth. In no way does it define who you are and what your worth is. And weight loss does not at all equal fat loss. No one is sitting on a street corner and being like, 183. Yep, I know it. She's 183. No one cares. No one cares what an arbitrary number on a scale says about you. What people notice is how you look. But not just how you look in your clothes. People notice your posture, how you carry yourself, your confidence, your energy, how clear your skin is, your muscle definition. All of these things actually represent good health and vitality, and that's why they're attractive. Furthermore, body weight fluctuates a ton, and it has nothing to do with whether or not your body composition is actually changing. Our weight fluctuates a lot more so because of water. So let's take a couple of examples. Our weight will fluctuate depending on how much salt we've been consuming. If we had a lot of salt yesterday, then we may end up retaining more water and weighing more today. Or in another way, maybe we ate less salt yesterday, so we weigh a little bit less today, but we're gonna eat a normal amount of salt today, which means we're gonna feel like we gained weight tomorrow. It makes no sense. It's the same thing with carbohydrates. A lot of people will drastically drop weight when they're on a ketogenic or a low carbohydrate diet. And the reason is because they've lost water weight, not fat. And unfortunately, the moment they start reintroducing carbohydrates back into their diet, they're gonna start retaining that water all over again and gain that weight right back. Other reasons that our weight fluctuates, if you've been strength training or been doing a big training session, whenever you really work your muscles, you tear muscle fiber apart, which is a good thing. That's what our body needs to do in order to repair and rebuild and get stronger. But what that means is our glycogen storages are depleted, and so our muscles will start pulling in and retaining more water. They'll become more inflamed because they're repairing themselves, which means that on the scale, you're gonna look like you're weighing more. Take a rest day or two, you'll flush right out and it'll look like you're weighing less. But again, it has nothing to do with fat loss. Another reason that your weight may be fluctuating will have to do with stress. When we're stressed, our body releases cortisol. And cortisol has a whole slew of mechanisms that go on that include retaining water, all in hopes of helping us flee or fight any imposing danger. And so if you're more stressed than normal, you're going to be holding on and retaining more fluid, and it's going to look like you're gaining weight. Same thing for ladies, PMS or that time of the month, bloating is absolutely normal and natural. And it is going to look that you weigh more that time of the month. But again, has nothing to do with whether or not you're making progress with your overall fat loss and body composition. And lastly, guys, and I encourage you, if you are going to weigh yourself, test this one out. You may just need to take a big poo. Right? But for real, if you were to weigh yourself before going and having a bowel movement in the morning and then weigh yourself after, you can easily drop 2 to 3 pounds. test it. Furthermore, if you're measuring at different times of the day, say that you're eating a little bit later than normal and you always weigh yourself in the morning. If you ate a little bit later than usual, it may look like you're weighing more in the morning, but it just is because it hasn't fully digested. It's the same thing if you weigh yourself earlier in the day than normal, or you weigh yourself later and you've eaten or drank something. All of these things are going to impact that number on the scale, but none of these things are a great measurement for progress as far as body fat and as far as body composition. So let's also talk about that. I'm sure you've heard it before. Muscle weighs more than fat. Okay, let me just clear the air. Muscle does not weigh more than fat. All right, you have 5 pounds of muscle on this scale and you have 5 pounds of fat on this scale. Guess what? It's still 5 pounds. What is different is the way that it looks, is the volume. 5 pounds of muscle is going to be lean, tight, toned, small, whereas 5 pounds of fat is fluffy and puffy and big. It's totally different. Obviously, we want 5 pounds of muscle, or we want more muscle. And the other thing that we need to stay focused on, and why we want to focus more on our muscle definition and our strength, is because when we have more muscle on our body, that is a more metabolically active tissue, which means that our resting metabolism, us just sitting here chilling, is actually raised. The other reason that we don't want to focus on weight loss is because for real sustainable fat loss that's going to last, it's going to show up slowly. That a good sustainable rate of weight loss, 1% of your body per week. That's about 1/2 pound to maybe max 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds per week. So if you were to think about that, you're working hard and you're really trying to change your diet around for a month and you lose 4 pounds. And for someone that may feel really discouraging and disheartening, when actually that is the healthiest thing that could be happening. The reason you want to go slow is we have this part of our brain, the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is a thermostat, is something that's going to keep us regulated. It's there for our own safety. A thermostat is something where we set the temperature. So say I set the temperature in the house to 70 degrees. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's quite hot already. So outside might be about 95 degrees Fahrenheit, right? If I open a window, all of that hot air is going to come into the house, which is going to automatically kick on the air conditioner. That cool air is going to come in until the temperature is again at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, because that's what the thermostat is set at. And that's how our brain works. It's called set point, or a defending weight theory. And you may notice that you have a defending weight of about 5 to 15 pounds that you tend to stay at pretty regularly. And this is because of the hypothalamus. If we drastically drop in weight, what happens is the hypothalamus, because of, again, evolution, it was far more likely back in primitive times, far more likely to need to survive famine. So what it does is it protects us. And if we drastically lose weight, it's going to kick in our survival mechanism. It's going to slow down your metabolism to adapt. Since you're consuming less calories, it's going to make sure that you're conserving energy. It's also going to bump up ghrelin. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone. So it's going to make you feel more hungry. You'll have more cravings, especially for things that are sugary and high fat, because that'll be a quick source of energy. It also plunges your leptin levels, which is your satiety hormone, which means when you drastically lose weight or you drastically diet, we end up feeling like a bottomless pit. We end up feeling like we can eat and eat and eat and not feel full. And again, this is because our body is trying to protect us from famine. How do we protect from this mechanism? We stop focusing on weighing ourselves and we focus on how we feel. If we get discouraged by only losing 4 pounds a month, then we won't continue on. And if we only get encouraged by drastically dropping 20 pounds and then our hypothalamus and everything kicks right in, we'll get discouraged because we have these cravings. We become obsessed with food. We're insatiable, and it's really discouraging. And that's why so many people yo-yo, because they'll drastically lose weight. They make drastic changes, and then their body is like, oh shoot, hold up, wait a second, something's wrong. There's a famine. We need to make sure we survive. All of a sudden, you have all these crazy cravings. You're obsessed with food. You're an insatiable bottomless pit, and you wonder why you gain the weight, if not more, back. So the way to combat this is two ways. Lose weight slowly. Again, max 1% your body weight per week, and make sure that you're physically active. Make sure you're exercising. Make sure that you are getting more muscle on your body, because the more metabolically active tissue that you have on your body, the more the hypothalamus is going to defend a lower set point. I'll talk more about this again in next week's video. Which brings me to my final reason, and really the biggest reason why I believe you should stop weighing yourself if you find yourself yo-yoing or self-sabotaging your weight loss efforts. And this is because the psychological impact that weighing ourselves can have on us and our emotions. Please know that in no way should some blinking numbers on a cold piece of plastic ever tell you what you're worth, ever dictate how you are able to feel about yourself. That cold piece of plastic has the capability of stealing your joy and stealing your power. And I promise you that that is not worth it. I've had way too many clients in the past struggle with this, that they'll be doing so well, feeling so in their power. They'll have decreased cravings, they'll have increased energy, they feel amazing, and then they step on the scale and either the number fluctuates, it goes up, or it doesn't move as much as they think it should. And what can end up happening is they get discouraged and they end up giving up. They end up feeling, well, what's the point? I've worked so hard for this. And unfortunately, what it does is then it negates everything else that they were doing. It negates all the other benefits that they were experiencing. And they end up going backwards and feeling really bad about themselves. And it sucks. I mean, and in the flip side, I've had it this way myself personally. I would see the scale move down, which is super exciting. It is. It is really exciting to see those numbers go down. But one of two things would happen to me. Number one, I would be like, oh man, I'm doing really good. You know what? I deserve a treat. And I would go out and I would reward myself with food or with alcohol or what have you. And a lot of times that would put me back into old habits and behaviors, and the weight would come right back. Or number two, I would feel so good about the number being down that I would restrict even more and eat less and less and less and become almost more isolated and try and be so perfect with my diet and my exercise. And I became obsessed until the point that my brain was like, hello, what's going on? And I would lose it. I'd have some sort of stress or something would happen. I would emotionally eat. I would overeat. I would self-soothe. Trust me, there is no reason for these numbers to dictate how you feel about yourself, to dictate whether you continue on your path to a better life, to a longer life, to a life where you get to show up and give and be your best self. So, I hope that you've learned something from this video. I really do encourage you, if you do have a scale and if you are finding yourself in this yo-yoing, in this self-sabotage mindset, please throw out the scale, hide it, freaking smash it, just get rid of it. I promise there are a multitude of other ways that you can track and measure your progress, and I'll go into deep detail on that in next week's video. And I promise you can still do this. You can still have weight loss. You can have amazing results, and it can be sustainable, and it can be for the long term, and you can feel amazing. And there is no reason that a number on a scale will dictate that. So if you want a little bit more guidance with this, if you would like a little bit more accountability and help building the healthy habits that are going to help you have peace with food and your body and have lifelong results, I would love nothing more than to help you with that. Down below in the comments, there's a link for a breakthrough call. All you have to do is click on the link and you can apply for a call with me personally, and you and I can chat about What is going on with your life? What is holding you back? How do you want your relationship with food and your body to be? And I want nothing more than to help you have some clarity and give you a real game plan to just start living your best life. And if you found any value from this, guys, please be sure to give it a big like. Be sure to subscribe. Share it with somebody who you think may also benefit if they are struggling with the yo-yoing or with really placing all of their self-worth and value on a number on a scale. And other than that, guys, until next time, may you be happy, healthy, and fulfilled. Mwah.